Greetings, Durham Public Schools, and welcome to ECATS Training 101. In today's video, we will be going over the meeting purpose and the student profile page. We will also be going over the flow of the IEP. Please note that this is an ECATS training site, and as such, some buttons may be in a different location than what they are on your screen. Also, be reminded that in your Google Drive, there is an ECATS folder with a lot of good information. This folder is available to you at any time, day or night. You simply have to go to your Google Drive and search ECATS. All right, so let's jump into it. First and foremost, we want to make sure that we look up a student. And how do we do this? We go to Students in your dark blue bar and go to Students again. If you are a case manager, you will see that your caseload will appear somewhere on your main screen. If you are not a case manager, I'm sorry, but this option may not appear for you. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the student search area. All right. So for those of you who are only assigned to one school, when you click on schools, only one school is going to come up. For anyone who's assigned to multiple schools will appear, and it will be beneficial to you to go ahead and choose the school that your student attends. Let's say you are not sure what school that student attends. You're welcome to search by their last name and first name, but if you're not sure of the spelling, you're also welcome to search by their student ID. So I am going to go to the Durham Public School, and I'm just going to leave it blank to see what happens. Now, mine comes up with a very large list, but note, if you leave yours blank, it's likely to give you an error because there is a maximum number of results that it will show. So we're going to choose the student that we want to go to. And since we're talking specifically about the IEP, we now want to go to the lighter blue bar, click on EC Process, and click on IEP. This is where we will specifically be talking about the flow of the IEP. Now you notice there are a lot of different tabs. So let's talk about what these tabs mean. So in ECATS, there is a brand new flow than what we are familiar with. And to make this flow easier for you, I have made this chart that you are welcome to ask for at any time. In our flow of IEP, we're essentially doing the who, what, when, where, and why. So we start off with why in every single IEP meeting, which asks, why are we here? And this part of the IEP is your meeting purpose. The next is who. Who are we meeting about? This page lines up with student profile. The next part is your what and when. We want to know, what do we know about the student and when was data collected? The components of the IEP that match up to this are the assessment summary and source of relevant info. After we get through all of this, we now come to a decision point. Now this is a part that was not in CCAS, but it is here in ECATS. Your decision point asks, does it need special design instruction? Or it would simply say, does it need SDI? What page is that found on? Is found on special factors. So after we decide why are we here, who are we meeting about, what do we know, and when was that data collected? That's the assessment summary and source of relevant info. Then we review special factors and make a decision. Does it need special design instruction? And we'll delve deeper into that on another video. Once we decide yes, that it needs special design instruction, then we go to the goal area. What is the expected outcome? And for those parts, we look at the secondary transition and the annual goals. Then we go to how and where. How do we help? And where? Now that we've made a goal, what do we do from there? That's where we go to services, service goal integration, accommodations, extended school year services, extended school year services goal integration. And from there, we take action. When did we start and who was involved in the meeting? So as you can see, ECATS has a little bit of a different flow than what we're accustomed to with our old system CCAS, and that is okay. So now we want to move on to the meeting purpose and student profile, which is the specifics of this video. So going back to my ECATS screen, the portion that we are at is why are we meeting and who are we meeting about. So let's talk about why we're meeting, which is our meeting purpose. Here we have a little bit of information that we're going to enter. Meeting purpose. Is this an initial, an annual review, or an addendum? You will note that the word other is not here. You will also note that reevaluation and eligibility are also not here. So what do we do in those cases? If this is the very first IEP that a student is receiving in the state of North Carolina, it is their initial IEP. If we are reviewing an IEP that they had before, it is their annual review. If it is an IEP that is attached to a reevaluation, but we are not writing a whole new IEP, it is an addendum. If we are simply making changes to the IEP, but not changing the end date and not reviewing every portion of the IEP, it is also an addendum. Next is the IEP meeting date. This is the day that you are holding the meeting. This is not the start date of the IEP. This is the day that the team will gather around the table in order to talk about said student. Once you press on the calendar icon, a calendar will come up for you to choose your meeting date. Then you want to choose your IEP start date. And during public schools, we like to start our IEPs 10 days after the meeting date, which means that you need to plan ahead. Next, we want to choose the IEP end date. If your meeting is an addendum, then you want to use the end date of the current IEP. If your IEP is an annual review or an initial, then you want to ensure that your IEP end date is 1 year from your IEP start date. So, since this IEP starts 9/27/2019, then I want to ensure that this IEP ends 365 days from that date. That means we go to the following year and then drop back 1 day. So now we have an IEP meeting date of September 27, 2019, an IEP start date of October 7, 2019, which is 10 days away from 9/27, and an IEP end date of 9/26/2020, which is 365 days from 9/27. Please note, in ECATS, you cannot backdate dates. This means if this were an actual meeting, these dates would not be accepted. We want to make sure that the IEP meeting date, the IEP start date, and the IEP end date are either today's date or a future date. From here, you can hit Save and Continue. If for some reason you think you messed up, you're always welcome to hit the back button to navigate to the previous screen. So I'm going to hit Save and Continue and go to the next page. Oops, we have an error. I forgot that I know this meeting is an addendum and it's actually an annual review. Now we're on the student profile page. Here, you want to ensure that your student's primary area of eligibility is correct. And we're going to answer the same 3 questions that were previously on the student profile page in CCATS. The first box asks students' overall strengths that contribute to success in the educational environment. As a plug, I do need to add, please make sure that you are reading the descriptions of the boxes. We want to make sure that we are answering the questions that are being asked of us. So this says students' overall strengths that contribute to success in the educational environment. This is not a just general box about strengths, but it is very important because these are things that teachers can use to help educate this student. This student might really love science. That's something that we need to know, because if I'm trying to help the student learn to read, then I may want to bring in some science text. The student might really like bugs, and the student will be more engaged if I can bring in those materials. The next box is parental concerns, if any, about their child's academic and functional performance in school. I know we typically just ask for parental concerns, but let's be specific about what we're asking. The next box is parent-students' vision for the future, including specifically vision after high school if appropriate. This is not the place for teachers and staff to indicate what their ideas are about what the student should be doing. This is where the parent and student see themselves in the future. Once my boxes are complete and I'm satisfied with the answers, I hit save and continue. This takes me to the assessment summary page, and that we'll talk about in the next video. Again, if you have questions or you feel like you did something wrong, you're always welcome to hit the back button. As a reminder, this is your overall flow of the IEP. Today we went over why are we meeting and who are we meeting about, which is the meeting purpose and the student profile page. In the next video, we'll be going over the what and when. What did we know about the student, and when was data collected, which is the assessment summary and source of relevant info. As a reminder, you have access to ECATS information in your Google Drive. Simply go to your search box, search ECATS, and information to assist you will show up. Again, thank you for joining this ECATS training.